For this video, we're going to look at solving equations. So we're going to isolate the variable and solve for whatever variable is in the equation. So to begin with, we're going to look at the order of operations. So this is the order that we're supposed to work through and solve a problem. So the P stands for parentheses. You always start with whatever's in parentheses first. E is for the exponent. M is for multiply. D is for divide. A is add, and S is subtract. Okay, so you always start with your parentheses, right? And then once you simplify those, or if you don't have any, then you move into your exponents. And remember, multiply and divide are on the same level, right? So it's always left to right, and then same thing for add and subtract. So you really have four levels. You've got parentheses, then exponents, then multiply or divide, whichever one comes first, and then add or subtract, whichever one comes first. Whenever we start to solve for our equations, we actually want to solve in this opposite order. So we're going to simplify these equations first. Okay, so we have no variables in the first one. We're just going to simplify using order of operations. So PEMDAS, first comes the parentheses. I've got one set here that actually has an operation inside. This around the -4 is just telling me to multiply 3 times -4. So I'm going to start with simplifying 2 minus 1, which is 1. So I've got 1 squared plus 3 times -4 minus 8. And this slash is division. This is a division bar. So this is 8 divided by 4. Right? Next comes E, exponent. So I'm going to simplify 1 squared, which is 1. Right? Then I've got multiplication and division. Okay, that just means whichever one comes first, left to right, I simplify. So the 1 stays. Then I've got 3 times the -4, right, which is -12, and I'll leave that in parentheses. And then I've got -8 minus 4. Right? 8 minus 4, 2. And then I've got addition and subtraction, left to right. So I've got 1 plus a -12 is -11. And then -11 minus 2 is -13. So this whole thing simplifies down to -13. Now I'm going to do the same thing for the second one, but now I've got an x in there. Right, so I start with my parentheses. Okay, I can't combine x plus 3, so I have nothing to combine inside my parentheses. I can't simplify them anymore. Exponents come next. I don't have any exponents. And then multiplication or division. I do have multiplication with this 3 times x plus 3. So I've got to distribute. Same thing with my 2. So I've got 3x plus 9, -2x, and then a +2. Right? Now we do addition and subtraction. Okay, remember, you have to combine your like terms. Okay, so I got 3x. I can't add the 9, but I can add the -2x. And then the 9 plus 2 gives me 11. I can't combine that anymore, so that's my answer. All right, just a quick review, order of operations, and simplifying. Okay, this 3 times x plus 3, right, this is called the distributive property. Right? Anytime you have a number out front, you got to multiply it through. Keep it signed. So that's a +3 and a -2. All right, solving equations. The goal is to get the variable by itself. Okay, so for this first one, x minus 4 equals 9. The only thing over here with my x is this -4. Right? To move something over to the other side, you do the opposite operation. So this is a -4, so I'm going to add 4. Okay, whatever you do to one side, you must do to the next. Okay, many of you have probably seen where you make your T-chart. Okay, 4 or -4 plus 4 cancels, and I'm left with x on this side equals 9 plus 4, 13. So x equals 13. Okay, for this one, 3p equals 12. That's 3 times p. Right, so I want to get p by itself, so I'm going to divide by 3. The opposite of multiplying is dividing. My 3's cancel. P equals 4. Always do the opposite operation. Okay, now we've got a couple of steps. Okay, a couple of steps. We talked, or I mentioned it a few minutes ago, talking about that order of operations. Whenever you're solving equations and you're trying to get a variable by itself, you're going to work farthest away and work towards your variable. Okay, so we're going to start with addition and subtraction and get rid of that first. So for this one, the farthest away is a 7, and I'm adding it. So to move it over, I subtract. So then the 7's go away, so I've got 2m equals 14. Now I'm going to work on the multiplying and dividing. Divide by 2, cancel out the multiplication, 2's go away, m equals 7. Same thing here. The farthest away from my y on this side of my equation is this 12 right here. It's negative 12. So to cancel that out, I add 12. So we get 3y equals negative 3 plus 12 is a positive 9. Then I work into multiplying and dividing. So I divide by 3, cancel out that multiplication, y equals 3. For the last two, we just have a few more steps involved. Okay, so for the first one, I want to solve for n. I have 3 times the quantity n plus 1 minus 6 equals 15. So I have two options. One way is to go ahead and distribute that 3 and start simplifying from there. The other is just to do reverse PEMDAS. So if I were to do reverse PEMDAS, okay, start with anything that you're adding and subtracting. Well, I'm subtracting the 6, so I'm just going to move it to the other side by adding it over. So then we have 3 times n plus 1 equals 21. Then I move into multiplying and dividing. Well, I'm doing 3 times n plus 1, so I'm going to divide by 3. And that cancels out the 3. So I get n plus 1 equals 7. Well, now I'm left with what I had in parentheses, which is what we started with a couple slides ago, where all I have is n plus 1 equals 7. So I just have one step, subtract 1 from both sides, n equals 6. The other option is to go ahead and distribute that 3. So then we get 3 times n is 3n, 3 times 1 is 3, bring down the minus 6, equals 15. I can go ahead and combine this positive 3 and negative 6, so we get 3n minus 3 equals 15. Add 3 over, start farthest away from my variable, so 3n equals 18. Opposite of multiplying is dividing, so n equals 6. In our last example, we've got 3w plus 2w minus 4 equals 11. So the first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and combine these like terms over here. 3w and 2w is 5w. Minus 4 equals 11. Start farthest away from my w, which is a minus 4. So I'll add 4 to both sides. So then we get 5w equals 15. Opposite of multiply is divide. So w equals 3. And that's all we have to do when we solve equations.